One of the questions people have is, how do you heat and cool a Touchstone Energy home? Well, to answer that question, we've traveled to Glidden, Iowa, and we're in the basement of Iowa's most energy-efficient home. In fact, it happens to be a Touchstone Energy home. Bill, when we get ready to look at a Touchstone Energy home, one of the signatures is the use of geothermal. And I'm asking, what are the considerations as a construction person we have to have in mind when we get ready to build a Touchstone Energy home with geothermal systems?
Okay, well, we've got to look from day one in our planning stages of where we're going to place the unit inside the house. You know, how large of a mechanical room. Are we going to be supplying all of our heating and cooling needs with forced air through ductwork? Are we going to be using hot water radiant heat? There's a lot of things that we have to look at. You know, that starts right from day one as far as when we start digging in foundation.
So begin with the end in mind. You have to at least have that thought through very carefully before you begin.
Right. You have to be working with your subcontractors in the very early stages so they understand what you're doing. The total design of the home goes into deciding how large the unit has to be. So they have to know how energy efficient the home structure, the thermal envelope, is going to be to correctly size the unit.
Okay.
And, you know, we're going to be getting some of our domestic hot water from that. You know, we're looking at, you know, how are we going to actually get heat into the system? And it's brought in through loops that are in the ground. The loops right here, basically what you'll see from now on is you'll see just two come in.
Okay, so much simpler then.
Right, it's a lot simpler. There's not as many holes either through a wall or through a foundation. You know, we're looking at radon. You know, we're looking at a lot of different issues. So the fewer perforations you're going to have into the foundation or floor, the better.
So where does this go, though, in terms of the site?
Yeah, these just kind of run right out through the ground, and then these are connected. There's 4 wells in the ground that go down about 175 feet. So that's with vertical loops. We can also go with horizontal, and the horizontal is you just dig a large trench about 8 feet deep and, you know, maybe 300 and some feet long. So you need a larger area to go with that type.
So the size and the configuration of the building site is consideration as well.
It is. It is. If you don't have the space, you're going to have to go with vertical.
Okay.
And this all kind of ties in with you know, as far as energy efficiency, but it also, you know, we have to look at our ventilation issues.
Okay, so typically in a home you'll see vent fans like in bathrooms and things like that. Or we can see the same thing in a Touchstone Energy home?
All you'll see is just the vent, you know, just the grill.
But no fan?
No, the fan itself is down in the basement. It's a heat recovery ventilation system. And what it does is it pulls outside air, runs it through a filter, brings it into your house. So you've got a constant source of fresh, filtered air. But we need to pull air from, say, the bathrooms, the laundry, kitchen, any place with a lot of pollutants or a lot of moisture. We want to get that out of the house. And so when that goes through the unit, the heat recovery ventilator, by its term, recovers the heat that's going out. So instead of
we're not just heating the outdoors.
Instead of just throwing and wasting all your energy, you know, why heat the outdoors?
Right.
It pulls about 80% of that heat back.
Okay, so now what is a heat pump? And what does a heat pump do?
Well, we brought along Roger Hammond from Calhoun County RC.
Hi, Roger.
Hello, Mike.
Nice to see you today.
You too.
Can you help us with the heat pump?
Absolutely. Basically, as Bill talked about, you know, a geothermal system is bringing radiant heat from the earth up and bringing it in to heat and cool your home. And when you think of geothermal, you think about something that is truly a system. And the way it basically works is you're bringing in the heating, the temperatures, the energy from the earth through this manifold system, and it converts it over here to what is basically a compressor. And what this compressor does is it brings in the heat that's from the earth, and it kind of compounds it and magnifies it, similar to what a refrigerator does.
Okay.
What it does is any of the excess heat that's produced by the system then can be spun off and sent over to the water heater over there. So it'll do a large majority of your domestic hot water on top of it. The nice thing about geothermal systems are some of the benefits is there's no combustibles because there's no gas involved with this. It's electrically
That sounds safer
operated.
to me. Is that true?
Absolutely safer by all means. Geothermal systems are very, very efficient, probably the most efficient system you can put in your home. 3.5 times more efficient than a conventional gas system for the most part. It takes a lot less energy to produce heat and cooling with one of these systems.
So that's the cost saving plus the safety that you mentioned in terms of combustibles adds up to a real positive experience for the homeowner then.
Absolutely. Safety combined with efficiency, that's what we're after in this day and age by all means. You know, due to limited space or other issues around your home, a geothermal heat pump may not be an option for your Touchstone Energy home. You may want to consider a second option, which is a highly energy efficient air source heat pump. And the way an energy efficient air source heat pump works is it actually transfers energy from the outdoors to heat your home in the winter and cool your home in the summer. You're always going to provide your family with safety and comfort. Whether you choose a geothermal heat pump or an air source heat pump, you can always be assured you're going to have a very efficient, cost-saving heating and cooling system for your home.
Well, that's the answer. That's how you heat and cool a Touchstone Energy home.